Thank you everyone for being here. Um, Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I'll start my speech with remembering an incident in May 2008. I was sitting in a regular classroom in a government school, and I remember one of my teachers knocking the door and saying to us, "Who is here interested to go to America?" To me, that was like, wow, that sounds magical. And then I looked back into my friends, and I remember we were exchanging glances of like excitement and like, wow, that would be amazing. But then we all laughed back to ourselves because we know we are just a bunch of 14 years old, and our parents would not let us travel alone to America at that age. That same day, everybody goes home, forgetting the whole thing about America, except me, because just something told me when I was young that this thing was for me. So the first thing I did was I remember knocking the door on my parents and telling them, "Mom, Dad, I'm going to America next year." Period. The next thing I remember was I was on an airplane flying to California, knowing nothing about California except Hollywood's Walk of Fame on TV. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Arrahbi. I am a 27-year-old lady. And I was born and raised in the city of Muscat in the country of the Sultanate of Oman, which I know a lot of you are not familiar with. That's why I have a small handout here to show the geographic location of the actual country, just in case if... thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just pass it on the table. So the country of Oman, that's the simpler way of saying it, is located in the Arabian Peninsula, and it's surrounded by 3 different water bodies. It's the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea, and the Gulf of Oman, which is basically a country that is all surrounded by water. So there's beaches everywhere. That's why I grew up loving the beach, and I love California because it has, the beach everywhere, around it. So my goal for the speech is to achieve 2 main goals, one of which is to get my fellow Toastmasters to get to know me more better or closer, ask me any questions if we hopefully have time at the end. And my second goal is to share my love of being a traveler and how I think that have changed me and how I think it would, changes anybody's way of looking into life when they travel more. So moving into my first point, I'll jump back to my story of coming to the US. That was in 2008. And my first year here in the US, I did a program exchange, like an exchange program study. And I went into an American high school in Marietta, California. And I lived in Marietta and Temecula, and I lived with a host family for the whole year. That was my actual jump start into getting to understand the language and to get to know the culture better and better. But that experience, totally changed who I was, because I was 14 years old and I grew up, here, and I did my 15 years old, big birthday party here in Disneyland. But then at the end I had to go back because it was just a 1-year thing. So I went back and I continued my study for being a junior and a senior back in Oman, but I had a goal in my mind that I would do anything I can to get a scholarship and come back for college in the US. And luckily, with a lot of hard work, I was able to achieve that, and I got a scholarship, and I came to California and I studied in San Diego State University I did my bachelor's in engineering, and I lived in San Diego for 6 years. That's why I still call it home, and I go there every single vacation, just like the Thanksgiving last week. And then from there, things went smoothly and better, and things went well, and I got a job offer, and I moved to the Bay Area. This was in 2018, so it was a whole new jump start to live in Concord, and then I'm walking toward my 2nd year now here in Concord. So if you've listened more closely, you would seeing that I've almost lived in 3 or 4 different cities within the past 10 years, and all of which I was all alone. But I think this is what brings me to my next point, which is why do I really like to travel, and how did my first experience really got me more into traveling and enjoying the part of travel in my life. So I think, at 14 years, when I was 14 years old and getting responsible of like taking care of my own self, and then getting to explore different places of the, of like different cities, my love for travel grew more and more and more. So I traveled to Europe, I traveled to Africa, Kenya, Tanzania. When I came to the US, I'd always go to different states, whether it's on the east or on the west. I went to Mexico. I'm still hoping to go for more and more and more, because I know the world is just tremendous and it's so unique that you can never stop exploring. Why do I love travel? Basically, I think I have witnessed that travel have made me a different person than any person I know in my own life. It have made me different from my own sisters, from my own friends. It have made me different from all the strangers I meet when I travel. It is just something about travel that you get that you don't get when you are, sitting in your own comfort zone. It is the cross-cultural experience that you get when you talk to people, and it is that different and variety of mindsets that you get to deal with that gives you a new set of eyes into how to look into the world with a new, with a new view. If that's not the only thing, travel challenges you and it pushes your limit, because you will simply be standing in a line trying to order a hamburger with a language that is different than your own language. But at the end, when you make it, you go, here you go, I did not starve, I was able to feed myself at some point. So to wrap everything up, I just want to tell you that I hope you got to know me better first, and then second, I hope I was convincing enough to tell you how travel is important. And if you think you can do it, encourage your kids, encourage your grandkids to do it, because it's something very, very, very important. It is something we need in order to have more human connection. And to finalize my speech, I want to say this inspiring quote that I read from St. Augustine. He says, if the world was a book, then those who do not travel read only one page. Thank you.